Aboru Aboye. Listen, getting initiated before you get trained is like driving a car before you had driver's ed. Right? Now I know some people right away. Ah, I've been driving since I was 12. I didn't need driver's education. It's not really necessary. Great. If you're that individual who's been driving a car since birth and you've never had an accident and you just somehow knew all the rules of the road, great. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. You're a freak of nature. Okay? I'm talking about a city with 20 million drivers. Okay? The last thing we need is 20 million people out on the road driving cars with no driver's ed. Everybody is not a freak of nature. The overwhelming majority of those people need training. They need to know how to maneuver a car. They need to know the rules of the road, right? This is something that doesn't come naturally to most people. You need some kind of an orientation. Okay? If you value your life and you value your property and you value other people's lives and other people's property, when you consider there are 20 million drivers, it kind of makes sense to have a proper driver education experience. That's responsible, right? It's common sense, right? This is the School of Orisha Studies, and I'm your instructor, Obafemi Origunwa. Today's lesson is on the importance of training before initiation. All right. Now, I know that in West Africa, people don't look at it necessarily this way. Okay. Not everyone is going to tell you, oh, yeah, you have to be trained before you get initiated. And that's fine. But a lot of that has to do with the fact that the training in West Africa is so ingrained in the culture that they don't even recognize the extent to which they have been trained. Okay? Yoruba culture is a byproduct of Orisha lifestyle. Yoruba culture is a byproduct of Orisha lifestyle. The clothing that Yoruba people wear, the proverbs that Yoruba people consider the words of wisdom, the jewelry and adornments that Yoruba people wear, the foods that Yoruba people eat, the birds and the animals and the insects and the trees and the plants and the natural remedies that Yoruba people take as medicine, those are derived from Orisha lifestyle. Everything that is indigenous to Yoruba culture and Yoruba knowledge systems is derived from Ifa and Orisha lifestyle. Hands down, without question, everything authentically Yoruba comes out of Orisha. Okay? So it's so much a part of the normal reality of being a Yoruba person that it's easy to overlook the billions and billions of details that help shape your lifestyle and your way of being if you are from West Africa. But one of the things, the lesson I want to give to you, just to illustrate the example, is not so much in the look. What makes a Yoruba person is not the clothing. It's not the fila. It's not the ileke. It's not even the food that one might eat, right? Because that part of Yoruba culture is very flexible and dynamic according to where people live, and how many generations you've lived in diaspora. There's Yorubas who are in London. They've been in London for 50, 60, 70 years. There's Yorubas in Canada and Yorubas in the United States and, all over the place. And so their expression of the culture is going to have a high level of diversity. But here's one example of Yoruba culture that is it's indelible. It carries out across. Okay, wherever you have the faintest trace of Yoruba culture, you're going to find one particular social institution. Just to exemplify for you how important the training is to the culture and the lifestyle. Okay, an example I want to give to you is respect. Right, Yoruba people are notorious for respecting their elders. Right? And there's a billion ways that you show respect and deference to your elders. Failure to show respect and deference to your elders is one of the greatest offenses that you can commit. People will deal with you if you are disrespectful and rude to your elders. And like I said, there's a billion ways that you're supposed to show deference and respect to your elders. For example, if an elder is in the room and you walk into the room, as the younger person, I'm talking about you're 40 and the person is 50. In the strict tradition, in the culture, you are expected as a 40-year-old man to go over and dobale as a man and kunle as a woman, which is you're going to bow or you're going to curtsy, right? That's the expectation. Failure to do so, they're going to look at you crazy and somebody is going to correct you. No, this is how we do it. That's baba, that's iya. When you see them, this is what you do, right? You greet them. I'm not talking about babalawo or yalorisha. I'm talking about just Ogbeni Lagbaja, Mr. So-and-so, who is sitting in the parlor when you get here. No, you go and you kneel, you bow, you curtsy, you show him respect. Sir, that's respect, that's culture, that's being proper, that's being refined. You want to be omoluabi, right? You want the omoluabi is like the well balanced, the well groomed person. Okay, that is to show respect. A huge part of it is being able to show deference and respect to your elders. This is across the board. If you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're Isheshe, if you live in Canada, if you live in Ibadan, if you live in New York, if you are a Yoruba, people are teaching you and insisting that you adhere to the laws and the customs of showing respect to your elders. All right? That's training. And that's just one tiny example. And that's going to carry out over and over and over again. Once I was in Oshogbo. And it was, maybe 1 in the afternoon. I was in the back of the car, and we were running an errand. And as the car pulled up to stop, at a traffic light, on the right, there was a little pharmacy. And there was a young guy who was a little motor taxi, motor scooter taxi, right? So he pulled up beside our car on his bike. Woo. He looked over at me. He saw that I had a little goatee, and he was, but he was about 19, 20 years old. He looked at me. He recognized, and he just on the side of the bike, and just in passing, did a little bow and rode off. Now this is in the middle of the town. There's people everywhere. He is navigating all the traffic on the bike, and just in that split second, I mean, we're not talking about 5 seconds. He pulled up, he glanced at me, and did a little bow, just like that. That's the depth to which Yoruba people have been trained. Okay? I am a total stranger to this young man. He does not know me. No one is technically looking to say, you didn't do the right thing. He knows because of a life of training. This is a man who's older than me. Let me show respect. Very, 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 very Yoruba. Very. Okay? Now, what does this have to do with Orisha lifestyle and getting initiating and training? If a young boy on a bike will show deference to a just a little bit older man sitting in the car next to him in a split-second engagement, that shows you how important respect is. How much more respect do you give to your Orisha? When you walk into a room and Shango is there and you fail to greet Shango, what do you think that signifies? Shango is just going to be cool? He's not going to mind. He understands. I don't know. Do the laws of gravity just know that you don't know how to drive a car? If the laws of physics, do the laws of physics just bend because everybody knows, oh, well, she doesn't have driver's education, so, we're going to just slow the momentum of the car and we're going to reduce the impact because, they don't know the rules. Is Shango what you say Shango is or not? Does the car weigh a ton and is driving at 60 miles per hour or not? You can't have it both ways. If Shango is what you say Shango is, you need training on how to respect Shango and treat Shango according to his place in the cosmos. Otherwise, do you have Shango? This is an important thing you need to ask yourself. Now, of course, there's some hard ways to find this out. There's some creative ways where you can be stubborn and inventive and insist on doing it your own way. Or you can accept the fact that, well, yeah, Shango, I believe that Shango is what I say he is. I believe that Shango is what they told me he is. I believe Shango is the way he has moved in my life. I'm going to show respect by learning how to engage with Shango properly. That means you get trained before you take Shango home. That means you get trained before you take Obatala, Oshun, Yemoja, Ifa. Before you go home with those deities, you need to get trained. Just so you can, at the very least, show them respect. Let alone actually be able to engage with them in a meaningful, conversation. Being able to give them and receive from them properly. Right? Because there's a way that the elders eat that show respect for the children. And the children know, this is what my Baba is doing for me. This is what Iya is doing for me. If you haven't been trained in that, you're not going to recognize those cues. You're going to just think that, those are leftovers on the plate. Right? So it's important that you get properly trained before you get initiated so that you can participate more fully and more properly in this wonderful thing that we call Orisha lifestyle. Okay? Now, I'm looking for leaders. I'm looking for people who want to be trained. I'm looking for people who want to understand the rules of engagement and want to participate in those rules of engagement so that they can optimize their natural gifts and talents in relationship to these higher powers. I'm looking for people who want to make a positive impact on their own lives and the lives of other people through being able to do things the way that people used to do them, so things will turn out the way that they used to turn out. Is that you? If it is, I want you to join me in the School of Orisha Studies so that we can show you how to take your life and your practice to the next level. Aboru aboye. Aboshishe.